Here we are on a Thursday. And right now, you're taking another step very, very close to the weekly candle movements. Now, watch. If the history repeats, you don't have to take a decision. The market will make you take one. Whether that is going to be a short-term drop of 15 to 20% before you actually go into the big one, or you really pivot is usually based on the macro. And here we are, the macro is about to close tomorrow morning. That is in another 20 hours, you are going to get a candle close on the monthly. So watch this carefully. In 20 hours, you have a daily close, and few assets are already showing you that the daily is closing below the 21-day moving average. Now, what's the trouble there? Last time it closed below the 21-day moving average, it dropped 35% plus. Before that, when it closed below the 21-day moving average, the price dropped 63. But watch this carefully. The first time it crossed to the downside, it dropped around 35% plus. And the next time it did it, it dropped 64%. Okay, cool. So now, first time you already dropped 36%. Are you really going to drop 60% after this? If so, that is going to be dangerous, for sure. Now, this is Doge. It's a meme coin, for sure. Meme market has been slow. So let's actually look at things a little bit widely. This is a 3-day chart. What do you notice here? The price is slowing down, and before it actually goes down, the real downside, it actually needs to do something like this and go down. So that is still possible, or that should happen. I mean, that would be the perfect trap. A lot of people were thinking, no, this is buy the dip. The moment it bounces here, they'll go back and buying. And it may end up the A, B, C, and then start the 1, 2, 3. Now, with that 1, 2, 3, the trouble is, this is your long-term trend line. Breaking that trend line is unaffordable during this market condition. Now, you go back in here and you kind of see, okay, this is something where you should be careful. What if that kind of a run-up really doesn't happen? Because there are times in the past where you can formed these lower highs and then it became messy, right? So you have the lower high, but then this is a higher high. That's why I said there is a probability of things moving like this. Fine. Now we go on to a monthly chart. Where are you really? The monthly is actually showing you it's holding the trend line. This is your trend line support. So you're holding on to that trend line support. And yeah, obviously you can come back down and test that trend line support, which is a 30% drop. But what if that trend line breaks? That is the only trouble in that asset. Now, you pick up another one here. This is Solana. It's showing you all the risk which matters in the market. And then you zoom in, you get the weekly. Okay, exactly same thing as we talked about other assets. It's developing here, and its past shows you wherever you made similar candles, bearish piercing or bearish engulfing candles, there was a drop. And especially after you made a lower high coming from the top, that was significant because the drop has been monumental. Now, look at this. The moment you look at different assets like Cardano, you're watching these. But while the price starts going down, what will happen? A lot of people would say, oh, I'm going to short. A lot of people would say, no, this is buy the dip. So in that sense, the price would go up, making both of them think the other side. So the first guy who is shorter would say, shit, I'm wrong. He'll go long. Then the price goes up, putting in a local high, thinking, oh, let me double down. And a lot of people would go buying that. Then the price reverses low. This is something we have seen in the past. And I think it is going to repeat in itself because this is the macro pattern there. Now, you pick up the alt market. I believe this is very important in the alt market right now because look at the volume here. The volume is slowing down. Now pick up the weekly volume. that volume is slowing down. And it's not only that, compared to the previous candle where there was a lot of buyers, watch this volume, where there was a lot of buyers, but the buyers failed to push the price up. I mean, they failed. Or think about the opposite here. There was a lot of sellers, yeah? And then they failed to push the price deep down, but they managed to close a little bit in red. So there was a lot of confusion. But just the next candle, it confirmed it's about to go down with a 3-candle reversal. Now here, you're getting even more favorable condition. Half of that volume in selling is already pushing the candle to this side. So if the weekly close anywhere here or close to that, it would be a 3-candle continuation to the downside, the pattern, the reversal. So that's alt market excluding ether. Now we come up here and you want to make one thing sure before the weekly close. Are you still abiding by the rules? Because if you're still abiding by the rules of the market, going against it won't be the best thing to do. Now that's a weekly negative divergence. Now you go on and you should be looking at the monthly. And when you do look at the monthly, the price is going up, but the RSI still says, no, I am not. Now we go on to the total crypto market, it stays the same. You go into the Bitcoin side of the equation, it stays the same. Now, easy part here is that you can literally look at Bitcoin. This is Binance, one of the biggest exchanges in the world. And look at last 10 days. The price did not move up or down. It's consolidating. It's consolidating. Now, it is consolidating where? This is the question you should be answering yourself. It is consolidating in a range like this. I've been talking about this kind of a thing for some time now. And if the moment you realize that, okay, that shit is real, that would be a fake out to the downside. Obviously, yes, it will come back to the trend line and initially find a little bit of support there before it finally breaks to the downside. So where is that trend line? This is what I want you to focus heavily on, because you really don't have much of a downside here to say, okay, that break is coming. Bitcoin just have to barely move 4-5%, break below 112,000, and that kind of confirms, oh shit, that's a fake out. But even at that time, majority will hold on to see, okay, will $100,000 break? Now, if that $100,000 is breaking at that point, you're here, you're already in a confirmed breakout, to fake out. Now what? When you're breaking below 110, now we are entering the fake out region. So different assets are showing you different things. When you pick up Ether, it's showing you, I want to reverse, I'm slowing down in momentum, and it's still there, which is a good thing. You're below the resistance, taking the resistance or respecting the resistance. So in all of these cases, watch how the weekly candle is about to close. So you have the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the Monday morning. Here in India, you'll see the weekly candle closing. But before that, trouble is you have a monthly candle close. And that monthly candle should give you a base idea. Now, the baseline here is the price came back up to the exact top where you have been in last 1 year. And the RSI is not. That is something you have to think about. Now, you can literally put it into a 3-month chart, which is a bigger time horizon, and understand the fact that the price came back to the all-time high candle close region, but still the buying strength in the market doesn't look big. It's very, very low. This is that point where you're like, okay, if the monthly closes and the very next month happens to be a slow one, that is trouble. So the monthly candle would look something like this. You can still form a negative divergence and its extension in August. So watch how weekly things evolve, how week on week things change. You don't have to go zooming in on a 4-hour or 12-hour, but keep your eyes focused on a weekly to 3-day chart so that you understand where the big movements are coming. Right now on a 3-day chart, you're watching the prices slowly seeping up, but the RSI is not saying that. Now you go on to a daily to see whether that's true, and you kind of get the taste of, oh yeah, that is true. So basically you'll have one pump like this and then a bit of consolidation before you drop. So hold on to your nerves, be disciplined. Each and every top is like the exact same thing. It takes a lot of patience, because if you go back in time and look at this, saying everyone was bullish, saying the market is at the all-time highs, but it took 66 days before you actually saw that was a fake out. So if you don't have the amount of patience you need, it is going to be troublesome. So that's just in Ether. You pick up Bitcoin and you see, okay, fine. In Bitcoin terms, it was a little bit quick. It was like around 30, 35 days. So if we can do that here, let's observe where we are now. Ooh, we are very close. We are like 21 days. So in 2 to 3 weeks, if Bitcoin slows down and come back down to 108,000, it is about to rhyme the history. So if you haven't smashed that like button, please consider doing that. And if you want to get individual charts on different assets and your entire portfolio, be a part of this group, because the 99% is going on the other way. 99% does not make money in crypto market. So be at the right place.